Do I feel like your long lost bestie just popping in after a month? But we're like such good besties that it's that kind of relationship where even though we haven't seen each other in a while, as soon as we get back together again, we're right back to normal, right?
You got me feeling a fight. You got me feeling a fight. Like how could I not think of you?
Welcome back to the Bedside Table. It's episode 28. I'm your host, Ellie Marie, and I'm happy to be back. I took my month-long break a little bit earlier than normal because usually I do 10 episodes and then I take a month-long break, even though I'm only in my 20s for my episodes. My tradition that I've started for myself is to take a month-long break every 10 episodes, but it came a little early this time around because I just felt the need to slow down. I felt the need to slow down and take a beat for myself. And I talked about in a previous episode about the need to prioritize rest. And I've not ever been good at that in my life. But I can say I'm proud that I'm at a place with myself where I can notice that the indications, these internal indications for rest sprout up, and I'm able to at least recognize when I'm trying to tell myself, hey, I need a moment. And I'm also able to recognize my tendency to ignore those signs and ignore those indications of needing to rest. But this time around, I took a pause. Because sometimes I just wish everything would slow down. Sometimes I really do wish life had a pause button, but in a sense, we can create our own pauses. We can create our own slowness and embrace it. And it's funny because I used to distract myself a lot when I was growing up, and I used to always want to keep going because as soon as I was alone, I felt very isolated, and I had all of these feelings that I didn't know what to deal with, and I would just have to numb myself. And so in an effort to not feel that way and to not feel like I needed to numb myself and to not feel so alone and isolated, I kept myself going and I kept myself distracted. And so that's been a hard pattern to break out of sometimes. I don't numb myself anymore, which is good. But now it's like I'll find myself in periods of burning myself out, in periods of overextending myself and overusing my energy, using all of my energy until I'm completely drained. And that's really not good either. That's kind of like, oh, now that I think about it, that's the maladaptation to the survival, the coping mechanism I used to survive when I was growing up. Because growing up, that was what helped me avoid needing to numb myself, was just staying busy. Keep going. Finding something to do was the survival mechanism I used to keep myself from feeling so alone and isolated and to keep myself from numbing myself. Because that was worse. It felt worse to just be numb. And now that has turned into something maladaptive in my adulthood where I go until I'm completely burnt out. Because I don't feel alone and isolated anymore. And I don't feel the need to numb myself anymore. So when these moments of slowness inside of you are calling out to you to take a moment, to take a beat, I think obviously they come up for a reason. And for me, it's because I'm overextending myself. I'm doing too much. I'm draining myself. And it's really nice to be able to recognize what slowness does for us. Because I don't know about you, but I do like to keep myself busy. I do like having things to do. But it's tough. It's tough when you're just being called to take a moment, when you know you should take a moment. Because what happens if I like never do all of the things that I need to do because it feels like I always need to take a moment to rest? It sometimes feels so frustrating because it's like, I can't rest right now. I can't take a moment right now. Like there's so much that I'm falling behind on, or at least it feels that I'm falling behind on. And I have this feeling a lot, and I think I've talked a little bit about it in one of my episodes about like, it feels like I'm running out of time. I always feel like I'm running out of time, like, because I have these big dreams and these aspirations, and it's like I want to do so much with my time, but there's only so much time in the day. And part of that should be given to rest. Allocated. That's the word I was trying to think of. Part of that should be allocated to rest. But that's so hard for me because it's like, but in this time that I could be resting, I could be doing something else. But also, if I'm not taking time to rest, the things that I'm doing in place of this need for rest are probably not going to be that great. I'm probably not going to do it very well. It's probably not going to turn out how good it could have turned out if I had taken the time to rest. And so but it's so difficult because these feelings of like, when am I going to get to where I need to get to if it's taking all of this time? Maybe I'm just impatient. I mean, I know that I can be impatient, but I don't understand. I think part of it is like being in the society that we're in, this hustle culture that we're in. I don't like it, but it's also like, I've really started to notice how much of my time is dedicated to things that I really just don't care about. And I'm not trying to say that like the things that I do, like when I play games with my friends or when I go out and drink and enjoy myself and when I socialize, like those things don't feel like wastes of time to me. You know what feels like a waste of time to me? My job. It's how I have to, it's what I have to do. It just feels like, why? Why is so much of our time given to a place that's like, for me, I guess specifically, it's a dead end for me. And I've been thinking a lot about what I want to do career-wise, but it's also just like, I have experience, but I don't have a degree. Like, I don't have anything that's going to put me somewhere or get me somewhere where I would feel more fulfilled. And I've talked about my job and my work community in a previous episode. And it's not the community itself that I have found at my job is so amazing. And that's what I hold on to. That's like, okay, well, this isn't a waste because this is a good place to be right now. But the job itself is a dead end for me. The job itself is a dead end. I'm not moving up. I don't want to move up. And I'm going to be in that position until I decide to do something else. But doing something else and finding something else isn't as easy as just like, I want something different. Anyway, I went on a little tangent about my job there, but it's just, I just feel like, there's so much that needs to be done, but I only have so much time in the day to get it all done. And a lot of the time I find myself like, you need to do all of this. And I'm like, I look at all of this and I'm like, I know I need to do that, but I'm just not gonna. And I feel like those signs and those indications to rest, that's when they come in, is when I'm like staring at this, when I'm staring at and thinking about just everything that I need to be doing. It feels like a lot of pressure because it kind of is, it's kind of just my life. And what I do now helps build for my future. But I try so hard not to, like, it's hard to find the balance between like thinking about your future, but also thinking about your present, and also understanding like oh my God. it's confusing and it's frustrating and it's overwhelming to want to live and be in the present moment, but also understand the things that you're doing in the present moment are also affecting your future self. But it's like, I don't want to get caught up thinking about my future so much, because then I start only putting pressure on myself to do things that are going to benefit me in my future. Though I do want to do things that benefit my future self and that do build a good future for me, I also just want to fucking enjoy my life sometimes as it is. And sometimes I don't want to do anything at all. Sometimes I look at all of this and I'm just like, I have these urges sometimes to like, and this is just me being self-destructive, or these urges are self-destructive urges to just like not do anything and just to like fuck everything up and like sabotage everything. So that way I go back to basically what I know. I go back to being in an environment where it's like, I don't even understand. Why would I want to? I don't understand. Let's figure this out together. Why would I want to self-sabotage everything when I know that it's what I want to do for myself? And I know that I may not be making much sense, but I'm also just trying to figure something out in my brain, because everything that's coming out right now, I haven't sat down in front of this microphone in a month. There's a lot that's been stewing up in here, and I'm sorry. But thank you also for being here for it. But yeah, this space is where I like tend to just kind of process the mess. Ooh, I like that. Process the mess. I'm going to put that in my notes. Don't let me forget that. Beep, beep, beep. Process the mess. Okay. What was I talking about? We're processing the mess is what we're doing. Oh yeah, self-sabotaging. So there is this urge in me to just destroy everything. To just destroy it all. To just fuck everything up, you know, to just like be a shitty human being, to just like cut people off, to be like, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. I don't want you in my life. I don't need you as a friend. I don't need any friends. I don't need any friends. I don't need any friends. I don't need anyone here in my space. I just want it to be me and my messy self, because why? Because why? I don't understand. Is that the maladaptation to... Is this my urge to isolate and numb because things are overwhelming and I'm feeling things that I don't understand? And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. When I don't know what to do and I can't clearly see a path forward, I want to burn it all down, because at least then I know what to do if I burn it all down. I know what actions to take if I destroy it all, because I've done that already. Because I know what it's like to have everything destroyed. I know what it's like to be completely alone. I know what it's like to be lost. I know what it's like to be numb. So if I can go back to that, I'll know what to do. So maybe what I'm really struggling with right now is I have no idea what to do. I don't know what to do. There's so many avenues in my life right now, and I'm standing at like the entrance of so many paths, which is a beautiful thing if you think about it, because it's like I've opened up all of these paths for myself that wouldn't have been here if I hadn't have made certain choices and if I hadn't have gotten to the place. But it's like, that's where I'm at right now. I'm in this in-between of coming off of a path that I was so sure of, but it ended up not being, not necessarily the right path, but it ended up redirecting me. And so now I'm in this in-between. I'm in between the path that I just came from, and I'm in this in-between. I'm sitting by this lake that's in between the path that I just left. I've reached this in-between destination. It's not my final destination, obviously, but it's this in-between. It's this, I don't know why I pictured a lake, but I picture something calm and serene. I picture like just this nice patch of land coming from this path that I just got off. And there's this lake, and I can sit by the lake. I feel like I'm sitting by the lake in between two places. In between an ending and a beginning. I feel like I'm sitting at a lake in between the end and the beginning. And I don't know when I'll feel like getting up from the lake. I don't know. Because every time I get up from the lake and I try to move forward, I'm not sure which way to go. Because there are so many paths laid out in front of me. I don't know which way to go right now. And I think that's okay. I know that's okay, but when I sit and talk about it, it's like, well... When I sit and talk about it, it's like, well, maybe I should have some indication. It's like, give me some indication of which path to take. Like, which one do I go down? But I genuinely don't know. If you've been listening for a bit and following, you know that I was in school. And I took 3 classes this past summer. Got through all of them, so I got the credits for those. And then I was taking... a psychology class for this semester, and I ended up falling behind, and I got too far behind that I'm not going to be able to complete the class. And for what I was trying to do, I was on the path, that's funny, to be a school counselor, and that takes a long time because you have to get a master's degree. And I told myself, well, I need to start now. Because I've already waited so long, I need to start now. And I think I would still like to continue schooling. I really do. Because I was enjoying just learning. But I think the part of me that's beating myself up about it is like, well, you set this intention to become this thing, and it's already going to take you a while, and now you're falling even further behind. And that contributes and compounds onto the feeling of running out of time, of feeling like I'm not figuring things out soon enough. But then it's also like, when am I supposed to figure things out? At what point am I supposed to have things figured out? What does that mean? There's no like checkpoint I have to reach that's going to say, oh, yep, okay. You're almost there to having it figured out. I've just been like, yeah, the best way I can describe how I'm feeling is I'm at an in-between place in my life. Between an ending and a fuck ton of beginnings. And I don't know which beginning to begin. And I've been at this place before. I say I've been at this place before. Briefly, I've been in between times. And maybe that's part of my discomfort, is because I've never just taken the time to sit and be in a place in between. I've moved from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And now I've found myself at a place that I've so often skipped. I've so often just briefly, I just breezed by the lake. Didn't even take a time to sit down and reflect. Didn't even take time to sit and think. I just went from this path. Oh, I'll just go down this one. Oh, okay. I find myself at the in-between place again. Nope. I just have to keep going. I keep going. And now it's not like that. Part of the reason why it's not like that is because I'm moving very intentionally, and I'm being very mindful. But it's such a struggle to just sit in this in-between place when you feel like I need to keep going. I've got to keep moving. But that's also, I feel like, because that's what I'm used to doing. And that's what I know how to do. So if I just keep doing that, it's like, well, I know how to do that. And it brings me that safety and that comfort of, okay, I know how to do this. But the safety and the comfort isn't worth just stringing myself along path to path to path without giving much thought, without being very intentional about, well, where are these paths leading me? Is this even what I wanted? I didn't take the time to sit in between things because I wasn't comfortable with not knowing what to do. And I'm still not comfortable with not knowing what to do, but this time I'm sitting with it. This time I'm sitting by the lake and I'm really taking a fucking look at myself. And I'm really just processing the path that I just got off of, the path that I just came from. I'm really taking the time to be here, for all of those experiences I just had, and to give time to recognize everything that I've learned from them, and everything that felt good about them, and everything that hurt me about them. And I'm really just trying to sit with everything. And that's a lot. That's a lot to do. I can understand. I can understand why I've just wanted to keep going and why I've skipped sitting by the lake for so long. But this time I am doing it. And it does feel uncomfortable because I don't know what to do and I don't know what path to take. But I'm going to sit and I'm going to be with myself, and we're going to figure it out together. We're going to figure it out. We always do. And I know that. We always figure it out. And everything always turns out okay. And I don't like speaking in absolutes, but when it comes to me saying this to myself, I don't know what it is. It's just something I've carried with me for a long, long time. And I can't remember the first time I started carrying it with me, but it's just this feeling that it's all going to work out. It's all going to be okay. And every single time I've gone through something absolutely devastating or heartbreaking or painful, and I find myself out on the other end of it, that feeling and that thought comes up of like, it's all okay though. Like, you made it through. And even being here now after everything that I've been through, like the past 6 years, that comes up because it is all okay. I'm sitting here in my own space for the first time in my life. My own space, something that I've always wanted for myself because I've never had it. Something I've always wanted for myself, and now I have it, and I've brought myself to this place. I've made the decisions that have brought me here. Sorry, I forgot to charge her. All the paths that I've taken, all the things that I have done have brought me here. And I think right now, being in this in-between space, I think I'm just being called to recognize everything that has brought me here, and to just sit for a moment, because I know my life is going to be what I want it to be. I don't know how. I don't know what I'm going to do to get it to be where it's going to be. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I know we're going to get there. I feel so strongly within myself, like, you're going to get the things that you want, because we're going to do it for ourselves. Just like we've done this for ourselves, just like we've done everything else for ourselves. And I'm not trying to literally say that I have not had help or support along the way. Of course I have. And I'm so grateful for that. But I just mean, I've carried myself this far, and I've gotten myself to so many places. And I've created this reality for myself, and I'm going to continue doing that. So while I'm sitting here saying I don't know what to do, there's this feeling in me that's so strong of like, but you're going to figure it out anyway. You may not know what to do, but we always figure it out even if we don't know what to do. And I know that. There's just so much I'm sitting with right now, and a lot of me just wants to, like I said, there's a part of me that wants to destroy it all. And then there's a part of me that wants to speed things up and like feels like things are, I'm running out of time and I need to keep doing things. And there's so much resistance to just taking this time to slow down and be here in this in-between place. There's so much resistance. But I also feel like that resistance is there. That resistance is there because of who I've been in the past and what I would have done. And the fact that it feels uncomfortable to be in this place right now, to be in this space, this in-between, to be taking the time to just sit and be in between, and to really think about what I do want for myself, and to really be mindful and intentional about my movements. Excuse me. I think the fact that this is what feels so uncomfortable right now, it's like, this is what I probably need to be doing. And that's hard to sit with. That in itself is hard to sit with, because then there's these other voices that are like, you can't slow down. You can't, because then you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there. It's going to take you longer to get there now. Oh, look at you. You could have been done with this already. Aren't you thinking ahead? But even if I have all of these little voices and all of these little pulls and these things that are so resistant, that are resisting so much, just resisting, I'm sitting with it. I'm sitting with it because this is so important to me. All of this, everything that's happening in my life right now, is so important to me. The relationships that I'm forming, the friendships that I'm cultivating, the community that I'm finding myself in, the work that I'm doing for myself, the things that I'm choosing to pursue. It's all so important to me. And at the end of the day, I don't want to fuck any of it up. And I'm not trying to say that in a sense of like, I think I'm going to, but like, again, there's that part of me that wants to destroy everything. So I'm aware of that. And I give space to that part of me. And I sit and I talk with that part of me, and I understand where it's coming from. It's part of what we did in this episode, was sit with that part of myself. I understand. But I'm also, even though there are these parts of me that want to be a particular way, there are these parts of me that I feel them and I process them and I give space to these parts of me. But I don't lead with those parts of me. The part that I'm leading with right now is this slow, intentional, mindful part that knows how much I've dealt with and how much I've gone through and how much I've overcome, and that knows how important everything is to me right now. Not that things weren't important before, but right now, the space that I have for myself, the people in my life, my creative pursuits, my career, my communities. It's all I'm very grateful for all of it. And it's all so, I can't think of another word for, I'm trying to think of something other than important because I've said important so many times. I'm cherishing it is what I'm doing. I'm sitting in this in-between place and I'm taking time to just cherish everything. Because it's also kind of a sad thing to think about, like, all the times that I've, like, rushed through because I didn't know how to slow down and I didn't know how to be as intentional and mindful as I am now. And that's fine. I know. I've lived and I've learned, but it's okay that I didn't know. But I look back on it and it's just like there are so many things that I wish I would have just taken the time to appreciate. She's smacking my microphone with her tail. And there are so many relationships that I wish I would have been more present for, and friendships that I wish I would have. I didn't have the capacity to hold the space for them that I have now. And that's another reason why I'm just like, I have that capacity now because I've worked really hard to cultivate that capacity and to grow it. So I can hold space for all of the things that are so important to me. Because I look back on it and I mean, even then it was painful for me to know. And I don't know that I knew, but it's like, it was painful then to recognize that I couldn't hold space for these things. Because I could only I was forced to hold space for everything that hurt. Everything that I had to carry every day. I had no choice. That's why I look back with really a lot of grace and compassion for myself, because I really had no choice. There was so much I had to. All of me was consumed by everything that was going on and all of the pain and all of the feelings I didn't understand, and just my capacity was so full. To think that I still had this, to think that I was still able to want to extend myself and want to be there for people and want to love people and care for people. I look back on that part of me and I'm just like, that's crazy. To think that I had this like sliver of me, this sliver of capacity within me. And I just wanted so much to fill that with love and with joy and with hope. And that's what I did. Sorry, I told you I'm processing the mess today. Don't even forget that. Process the mess. I like that a lot. I have ideas for merch one day, and I know I'll get there. And I think that'd be cute. Process the mess. I like that a lot. But that's what I did with the sliver of capacity that I had within myself that wasn't full of my pain and my parents' pain and my trauma and everything I had to deal with every single day in my home life and everything I was trying to escape from because I needed to survive. The sliver within me that I had left, I filled it with so much good. I filled it with as much good as I could. Because I knew I had to have just something I had to have. I had to have something good. Within all of that chaos, I had to have something good. And now my capacity for joy and for love and for hope and for friendship and for community and for grace and for compassion is just so fucking big. And I've worked really hard to expand that capacity. And so now, not everything is so painful all the time. I can hold space for the pain that I feel. And I can hold space for the chaos within me with all of these different parts that are so resistant to what's going on right now. I can hold space for all of that. Because now I have this larger space within me that is so full of all of the good that I'm able to carry it all. It doesn't mean it's not easy or it's not difficult. It's not easy to carry all of it, but I know that I can. So I'm just sitting with all of that right now. Thank you for being my therapist today. This was therapy for me. I will be real honest. This was a venting sesh, and I wrote down things today, and I didn't expect for all of this to come out. But every single time I get in front of here, it all comes out. I guess not every single time. That's an absolute again. I've been speaking in a lot of absolutes lately. I'm not sure what that's about, but we don't have to get into that. I feel like I've delved into a lot, and I really appreciate you being here for it. Yeah, it just feels good. It feels good to process the mess with one of the communities that I cherish. It's crazy to think I don't just have one community in my life that I cherish. I have several. I was thinking about that. I went to a birthday party this past weekend, and I was standing out on the back porch smoking, and I was like looking at the stars, and I just excuse me. But I was at this birthday party this past weekend, and I was standing out on the back porch, and I was smoking, and I was just staring at the stars, and I was just like, there's so many moments I have where I'm like, what is my life? I was like thinking about it. I was like, I'm here with friends. I have friends. I have multiple friends. I have friends here. I have friends at work. I have friends out of state. I have friends. And I was just like, I was filled. I was filled with joy. And I thanked the universe that night. I thank the universe a lot. Because it is, it's just this feeling of like, what is my life? Who would have thought? And then when I say that, I'm like, well, I thought, and I knew, and I try to tell you all the time, things are going to work out. And I believe that, even amidst the mess and the chaos, there will always be this part of me that's like, things will work out. Things will be okay. And they always are. And it's even better than I've thought it would be. But all of the things that I've wanted in my life, it's like I'm at this in between, and I'm able to look at things, and it's just like, my life is so fucking full and just rich. And it's okay. If I don't know what to do, it's okay. I'm going to figure it out like I always do. And in the meantime, I'm just going to really sit and enjoy everything and cherish everything, because I know I won't be in this space forever. Because life does move forward and things will change. So I just want to take time to enjoy everything as it is right now. Because it deserves that. The people in my life deserve that. The communities in my life deserve that. The good things in my life deserve that. It all deserves to be cherished right now. And so that's what I'm going to do. I may not know what to do moving forward. I may not know which path to take, but I don't need to know that right now. That's okay. I'll figure that out. I always do. I will figure that out. So I don't need to concern myself so much over it. I will figure it out. We will figure it out. We will. We don't have to worry so much about that and put so much pressure on ourselves. It's okay. We will figure that out. But for now, what I know I want to do is to just cherish it all. I just want to cherish everything. So that's what I'm going to do. I have made a decision. I mean, I've already been doing that, but to say it out loud and say, that's where I'm at right now, that's what I'm going to do. I feel really good about it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. No, genuinely. Thank you for sitting in with me. Thank you for sitting at the table that is my brain and my inner world. Thank you for joining me for tea. The tea that is my life. I hope you found some value in this. I hope you do. I hope you did, because I really did just kind of come on here and vent about things, but sometimes that's what helps me. I think that's what helps me the most, actually, is when people are just real and honest about what's going on inside of them. So that's what this is. And that's always... why am I speaking so much in absolutes? I don't know. I'll figure that out off camera. Anyway, again, thank you so much for joining me. I will intend to be back with another episode next week. I'm sorry I was absent for so long, but I really did need the time. And I appreciate your patience with me. And I know you understand. But I genuinely appreciate this podcast and the people who watch it. I appreciate and I value and I cherish each and every one of you. And I'll do my best to be back here next week. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Good night.